Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's workshop. This week's topic, just to remind you all, is rights and responsibilities in the workplace. And today, I'm presenting part 2 of this topic. Before we begin, we're just going to get into a couple of announcements. First off, I want to apologize for the video cutting off last week, but I am hoping that won't happen again this week. Meaning I hope to be quick enough and get through all the slides. So before we begin, I just want to run through a couple of reminders. We would like to thank you all for joining us. We would like to thank you all for joining us, and we would also like you all to join us by clicking on the blinking purple video on our page. So if you are watching the video with no blinking border, please join us above or below for the workshop watch party that does have the purple blinking border. Also, please join us for the discussion afterwards. It's a good time to get social and for you to tell us your thoughts and opinions on the questions we post. Again, I want to thank you all for participating. Whether it is during workshop time from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., every Tuesday and Thursday, or whether you watch the video at a later time. You are all great and appreciated. Now let's get started. So on Tuesday, we started talking about our rights and responsibilities, not only as employees, but as people as well. So tell me, everyone, what are some of the 15 protected grounds that the government protects from discrimination? All right, guys, you have 2 minutes starting now. Five, four, three, two, one, and up. Time is up. So really good, guys. Excellent or good try on your guesses. So now just to review, the Alberta Human Rights Act, AHRA, makes it illegal to discriminate or treat people unfairly. These 15 types of discrimination are called protected grounds. The Act also protects individuals from discrimination in certain areas such as employment. So these are examples of the 15 types of protected grounds that you guys either mentioned or some that you may miss. Race, religious beliefs, color, gender, including pregnancy and sexual harassment, gender expression, gender identity, physical disability, mental disability, age, ancestry, place of origin, source of income, marital status, family status, sexual orientation. Okay, so those are all of the 15 types of protected grounds that the government protects from discrimination. Okay, so last week we were watching the video, the SIN card video that got cut off. So I'm going to start today's workshop by playing this video from the top. After that, I will have a question for you all about the video. Okay, so let's watch. Give me 2 seconds to set it up like usual.
If you are a Canadian citizen, a newcomer to Canada, or a temporary resident, you need a social insurance number, or SIN, to work in Canada or to receive benefits and services from government programs. To apply for a SIN card, download the SIN card application form from the Service Canada website, www.servicecanada.gc.ca. Fill out the form correctly. Visit the nearest Service Canada Centre. Reception will point you to the appropriate desk. Show all required documents, which are different depending on whether you are a citizen, permanent resident, or a temporary resident. All documents must be originals. 1. Primary document. You must provide an official document that proves your identity and status in Canada, i.e. a birth certificate, permanent residency card, study permit, or work permit. 1. Supporting document. You must provide a legal document indicating the name you currently use. Must be written in English or French. It is required if the name on your primary document is different, i.e. a marriage certificate, change of name certificate. Or visit the Service Canada website for a list of documents required. Submit the completed SIN application form. If your application and documents are in order, you will get a social insurance number in one visit and receive your card at your home address within 10 business days.
All right. Also escape. Okay, guys. So my question to you. So we're going to review now. Okay. So we just watched a video about your SIN card. So my question to you now is, who has a SIN card and should you share the number on it? You have 2 minutes. Starting now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Awesome. Everyone has a card, and no, you don't share the number on it unless it is to get you signed up for work. All right. Security checks and bonding. So, now that we've discussed SIN cards and when it is best to use them, we need to discuss security checks and being bondable for the workplace. Before starting a job, you may need to complete a security check through the local police service. A security check is especially required if you're working with children, persons with disabilities, and the elderly, or if you're handling money or confidential information. For some jobs where it's important to protect against fraud or theft, your employer may check if you are bondable, whether you can be insured through your employer to handle sums of money. Okay? It's video time yet again. And we are going to watch a video about employee background checks. So, make sure you are watching because I have a question for you guys afterwards.
When it comes to getting a job, having a criminal record can make things difficult. Most employers require a background check before moving forward with hiring someone. A background check is basically a report that includes things like your previous employment, education history, financial records, as well as your criminal record, which is what we'll be focusing on. Many people don't realize everything that goes into a background check. In most states, when employers run a background check, they're able to see all of your past convictions. However, there are a select number of states where employers can only look at convictions from the last 7 years. Any charges older than that won't show up. You'll want to check and see if your state has any laws like this, as they may affect how you go about your job search. But what if you were charged with a crime but never actually convicted for it? Well, believe it or not, the charge will still appear on your criminal record. So even if you weren't found guilty, employers will still be able to see this information. All of the information a company finds can be used in deciding whether or not they hire you. This means you might want to avoid applying to jobs where the work is relevant to your charges. For example, let's say you have a violent crime on your record. You may want to stray from jobs that involve interacting with the public. Instead, you could look for jobs that are a bit more isolated, like a truck driving position. Or maybe you have a charge like robbery or theft. In that case, you'll want to avoid applying to jobs dealing with money or retail products. Something in the manual labor or food service industries might be a better fit. Depending on the state where the crime took place, you may be able to have the charge expunged. Expungement is a legal procedure which permanently removes charges from your record, meaning they'll no longer appear in background checks. Every state has their own laws about what can and can't be expunged, and some of these can get pretty complicated. Make sure you really spend some time researching the laws of any states where you may have charges, in order to find out if yours can be expunged. Criminal records can make it more challenging to get a job, but now that you know the basics, you'll be better equipped to deal with these situations.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
Okay. Escape. All right, guys. All right. So, I now have a question for you. Have any of you guys had to do an employee background check? You have 2 minutes. Let me know. Starting now. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome, guys. Awesome answers. So, just to let you all know, I have had an employee background check done for pretty much all of my jobs, guys, except for like 1 or 2 from when I was in high school, because I was in high school. Okay. Appearance and dress. Employers can't make appearance and dress a concern before you're hired. But once you're hired, employers can set standards for safety and health in the workplace as long as it doesn't interfere with your religious practice and physical being. Once you've started working, your employer can set reasonable rules for your appearance and dress. This can include rules for neatness, grooming, safety, and health. So let's watch a couple of videos about dress and appearance in the workplace. This is also an important part of your rights and responsibilities as an employee, guys. All right, so bouncing back.
For interviews, your self-presentation is very important. Although it seems obvious to state, make sure you shower, style your hair, and brush your teeth. Avoid strong-smelling aftershave, cologne, or perfume. But do wear deodorant. Here are other tips to put your best foot forward in a traditional interview situation. Wear something that makes you feel comfortable and confident, but do not wear jeans. It's much better to be overdressed than too casual. Make sure everything is neat, clean, and ironed. Wear a suit if it's appropriate to the company culture. If not a suit, wear a professional shirt with dress pants or skirt and appropriate shoes. If you are wearing socks, they need to be dark colored or extremely funny. Don't be afraid to showcase your personal style, but do avoid anything that is too bright, sheer, or tight. If wearing makeup, jewelry, or a tie, keep it simple and classy.
All right. Those were some really quick, easy, wonderful tips. Okay, guys. So we just watched a video about dressing for success. In this video, they listed a few things that you should do to dress for success. So what should you do to prepare for an interview or for work? You have 2 minutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So you all had great answers. And just to reiterate a couple myself, you need to make sure you brush your teeth, comb your hair, wear clean clothes, wear professional clothes. Make sure to not wear any strong perfumes or scents, but deodorant is always necessary. Also, if you're gonna wear jewelry, a tie, or makeup, make sure your makeup is not clownish. Make sure your jewelry is not huge hoops or huge earrings that are really dangly and bright, but something that's a nice little hoop that's appropriate. And for a tie, a nice simple tie is the best way to go. All right, so then we have one more video, why dressing for success works, and then I'll have a couple of questions for you guys after that video. This is the last video for our workshop today, so hopefully we get enough time to watch it all.
Can suiting up give you a leg up at work? A number of recent studies suggest a link between dressing better and working better. Here to tell us more is WSJ's style reporter, Ray Smith. So, Ray, tell us about a few of these studies. What did researchers measure exactly?
Sure. They looked at participants who were dressed up clothing, like suits, for instance, versus casual clothing. In some cases, sweatpants or sweatshirts. And they looked at two scenarios. One is like a competition over a real estate asset, and the other was simple tasks, like sort of identifying whether that person would approach the task with abstract thinking, which is like big picture thinking, like a boss would, or somebody in higher management would, or if they focus on the small details, which somebody basically on a lower status would do. And so they found that people who dressed better, who dressed in suits or were dressed up, performed better at these tasks. They thought big picture, or when they were negotiating for the sale of the assets, they conceded less, there were less in concessions, and they gained more in profit.
Fascinating. So is the effect both external and internal, meaning it actually changes the way you think, but also changes the way people relate to you?
It's both, exactly.
Okay.
You get a certain kick, like you almost feel a little more empowered when you're dressed up. In the traditional modes of like suits or heels even, you just feel a little bit more extra powerful. But also people perceive you when you're dressed that way as having more influence or somebody who's more important.
Ah, no wonder I'm wearing my power heels right now. But Ray, let me ask you something. What effect does it have if you work in an environment that is casual as opposed to an environment that's already sort of formal?
That's a really good question. I mean, the risk is that you show up in an office that is sort of casual and you're dressed up and everybody automatically assumes, are you interviewing for another job?
Right.
Or you look too dressed up. And so that's the risk. And so in those cases, you want to turn it up a notch, but not too much. So it might be a nice cashmere sweater over your Oxford shirt.
So don't show up in a three-piece suit and tie if you're working with people who normally show up in hoodies, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
So you do have to calibrate it somewhat to your surroundings.
Yes, you do. But all the time keeping it a step up, but not going too far with it.
So if you're Mark Zuckerberg, then it doesn't matter what you wear. Is he the outlier?
He's the outlier.
Okay.
If you have that much power or you own the company, you have a lot more leeway.
So is there something powerful then in not wearing the tie?
There is something powerful in that. There is an assumption that somebody who can get away with that must have the credentials
Right.
or to get away with that. So yes.
Okay, so how would you then break this down for sort of the average worker? What should we do? Just add one or two pieces that are sort of good quality material? What do you suggest?
Yes, I think that's important to maybe have a nice watch could make a difference, for instance, or a right pair of eyeglasses, or a polished scarf, or just these little accessories, if you will. Your shoes being new, polished, looking neat. All these little things that can just make a little difference.
What about fit?
Fit
Is that
is
important?
I mean, a lot of men will think that I'm wearing a suit, so I'm okay. I'm dressed up. But if that suit doesn't fit properly, you can look really slouchy or sloppy. So fit can play a key role in terms of just that little thing.
I like these takeaways. Make sure your fit is sharp. Make sure you have one or two sort of high quality items, right? It's not about the full Monty. It's just about sort of subtle, correct items, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, Ray, you're the perfect person to tell us again. You always look great. Thank you so much, Ray.
Thank you.
Okay. So we did make it through that video. Oh, cancel. Okay, so we did make it through that video, but instead of me asking you guys the last question, I will just ask you it in our discussion today. But I will finish off now. And we will see you guys Thursday. All right? Thank you for participating. We always appreciate you guys for joining us, participating, and sharing your thoughts and opinions with us. Okay? Please join us for our discussion after this. And we will see you all next week on Tuesday. See, I thought I had changed the slide. I didn't. Sorry. We will see you on Tuesday, not on Thursday of this week because I'm seeing you already. But next week, Tuesday, we will see you bright and early for workshop. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.